is something that you just gotta do a lot of, man. Are you on like a workout routine or some shit? Or are you trying to like get all the water in, or?
Nah, nah, nah. Just like I just think water's kind of slept on, you know?
Yeah,
Like
facts.
I know so many people that like drink coffee first thing in the morning. I'm like that probably isn't the best thing for you. Like I'm not really a guru, but uh yeah, water's blessed in the morning, man. I just feel also like I don't know what it is, but I fucking wake up and I feel like I haven't drank water in like years. Like I like my mouth is just so dry and I'm like fucking I feel like I'm dying. So
Yeah.
I always I always need to get the water in. So yeah.
You feel like you're dying every morning is kind of what
Yeah,
you're
like
what
every
is kind of
morning I
what you're
wake
getting
up,
at.
I'm
Yeah.
like, holy shit, like I need water right now.
Damn. Shit, that you might need to get that checked out, man. That
Yeah,
could
I
be
know.
like
I probably
deficiency
it's
or some
probably
shit.
not a great thing. It's probably not a great thing,
Yeah.
but I mean, it makes me drink water, so
For people that don't know, which usually there's about a couple people that are streaming at 10 a.m. If any at all. Ken is the name, rapping is the game. You've been a good homie and a member of GRG over the past almost couple of years, really. Since like I started doing events or like, doing like photo shoots or just getting to know you guys and connecting with you guys. And it's been a while that you've been in GRG. Like now it's been a long time. It's really cool to watch everyone progress, right?
yeah, no, for sure, man. It's definitely been a journey. Like just I think like I don't know, like as you said, like we've been together for a while now and like I feel like a lot more I feel like I get a sentimental a lot more for like kind of just like all these memories we've built like as a team and stuff like that. Um and like yeah, it's just crazy to see like what it was when we first started and what it is now because honestly it's two completely different things, right? Like when we started we had no idea what we were doing. Like I mean at that point like I was probably only making music for like I don't know, like a couple months maybe like when we started GRG and now like I it's turned into something I'm very passionate about and yeah, just seeing like how all these like relationships and friendships like and bonds like kind of strengthen like even like me and you know what I'm saying, like through GRG like I've met and through music in general I've met so many of my closest friends and like great people, so yeah, I'm like extremely grateful for that, you know.
I'm grateful too, man. It's cool to be around like different kinds of collectives and different kinds of people all the time. I feel so much like since you guys have come into the scene, there's just more types of people to talk to or interview or get to know. And I've seen you guys like branch off into solo things. I've seen you guys do solo performances, and then I've seen you guys come back around to the crew. Um, I've seen you guys do shows that I promoted. I've seen you guys do shows that I haven't, and it's been cool to be on both ends of it. Um,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
yeah, it's been a lot of time if you actually think about it, and a lot of things happen in short amounts of time too. Especially when we were kind of like firing on all cylinders in terms of shows happening. Like, I think Cult World was only like a couple months after the first show that we all did. And That's actually fucking wild to think about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
honestly it
that's
is,
actually
it
kind of
is, it
wild.
is.
Yeah, because
I honestly
Cult World was so huge. Like,
I can't remember if we like I can't remember if we were already planning Cult World at that point. I know we always kind of wanted to throw a show
yeah,
just because we were like I mean we always thought it would be cool just to host like an event, but I think after like the positive reception that we got at Z Night 6, which was most of us that was our first show. right? I had done like obviously Jalen Blue Rivers had performed before that. But like for like me, Chris, Kuska, like Ben, like that was like probably like that was our first time performing music on stage, right? So um but like to see like the positive reception in that, and like I feel like that just like gave us the boost to be like, okay, yeah, fuck it, like let's host a show, you know what I mean? So i feel I feel like Cult World wouldn't have been as fully realized if we didn't do Z96, you know.
If you had just straight
um
up done Cult World like from jump, yeah, true.
yeah,
That's true. But I
yeah,
also I do remember Jalen asking me at Z96 about like booking different venues. So I think, yeah, I think you guys were definitely trying to get it going. Just
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
for sure.
I can definitely verify that you guys, because I do remember, I do specifically remember that like he was asking about it.
Yeah, man. And like
Yeah.
what another crazy thing is like before like I met you and I met all these different people hosting shows and stuff. I was like I didn't even know you could just like throw a show, you know? Like I thought that was like I don't know why, but in my brain like it's like it seemed like this huge process and this and that. And don't get me wrong, like it is a tedious process and it does take a lot of work, but it's like I didn't know you could just do that, you know? So I think once we kind of got the idea for Cult World and we're like, okay, like there's people that would come out to Cult World, like I think it really got the ball rolling just to see other people in the scene doing it. You know what I mean?
For sure. I don't know if it's, you know, something that is, you know, I think it's a bit of both. Like, it is a tedious process, but it's also something that you can just fucking do at the same time. Like, it's kind of like if you put your mind to it, you can make it happen no matter who you are.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're an artist of like any kind, right? I mean, like, how was the experience for you guys, like setting it up? Because
Oh man, I well, I honestly like Cult World was just kind of like it like for me at least it was like kind of like a celebration of like all like kind of like all the connections we had made up until that point, and we really just wanted to because like a huge thing when we started GRG, like our kind of like coined phrase, I guess not coined phrase, but just something we always said for some reason was like for the culture, right? Like, oh, we're doing it for the culture, like this for the culture. And then we're kind of just sitting around being like, damn, we really have done nothing for the culture yet.
what?
So
I don't
we were
know.
like, damn, we always say it, but like we really haven't done that much shit for the culture. So we were like, okay, fuck it, like let's just throw a show with like all the homies and you know get all these dope artists together. And yeah, so like I there was definitely we definitely had like people in mind already. Like we of course like I wanted Terrell and Child and those guys on there. Um and then at the time like I was like I had just be like met and become good friends with like Mateo, like Dewflame. So we were kind of like, okay, yeah, like, and at the time he was looking to play a set. So I think Ben asked him at Rooftop actually. Um, I yeah he
Yeah,
asked him
yeah.
at Rooftop I think, and then yeah after that it just kept growing and growing like this like small ass idea kind of kept growing and growing, and yeah, like we got like the drink sponsorships and everything. You know, we found a pretty cool venue that was like um kind of like a mix between an art gallery space and like kind of just like a small area. And then you know we already knew Loose Threads from other events and stuff like that, so we were kind of like, okay, like let's get all these people together. But on the day of, it was definitely kind of stressful. I'm not. It was definitely stressful because you know, between like the small space and everything, and kind of like the fear of like COVID officers like coming in and shutting it all down. Like
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
yeah, it was definitely like a whole. It was an experience hosting a show. Like I don't think I personally I don't think that I could have done it alone. Like no way in hell I could have done it alone, but there was like a good like 10, 11 people helping us. So I think we definitely handled it, you know?
Oh yeah. No, I think, dude, like all of that just goes into it being an amazing memory and like an amazing time, you know. And also such a unique time, like the COVID stuff you mentioned, like around like fall 2021. That was totally something like I went back just the other day onto some of my older posters and some of my older like feed posts and stuff. And dude, I was putting on every feed post I was putting, yo, do what's comfortable in regards to COVID. Yo, respect other people's decisions, all
Yeah,
that
like
stuff.
mask up, all that stuff, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like for sure. Like it's crazy to think about how like it was such a huge part of our lives, and such a restriction on our lives. I think, and I think when we were doing Cult World, like that was a huge concern for us because we were like, okay, like like we already sold like 150 tickets. Like I'm pretty sure that's not okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like because we sold a shit ton of tickets like beforehand, right? And then like we were like, okay, we're also gonna sell tickets at the door. But then I think like once we realized how, because I had never been to the space before that day. Like only Ben, I think Ben had gone and seen it and was like, yeah, it's good. And then like when we all went there, we were like, oh wait, like this might be good for like maybe 50 or 60 people, but like I don't know, like this is a lot of fucking people coming in. This is not a huge space, right?
Hmm.
So I know that was a huge concern for us. Like we're like, oh, like I think we definitely bit off more than we could chew at that point, but I think like luck was on our side. Like no, there wasn't any huge complications. Um excuse me. I know there was like that little kerfuffle in the middle, where everyone was like, "Yeah, we're gonna shut it down. Like, we're shutting it down. Like the cops are coming. This, and that."
What?
Like, I'm not really too sure where that came from, but yeah, it worked out fine. So, I
Yeah, no,
mean,
I don't know what that was about.
yeah, no,
Someone's
it was
trying to like
great,
spread a
bro.
rumor or whatever, trying to
No, it
get.
was fucking crazy, bro. Like, no, okay, so I'm stressing. Like, okay, like I always joke about this. Like, obviously, like Kuska, great guy. Benny, great guys. You know what I mean?
But
They did a
fuck
lot
them.
that day. They
But
helped a
fuck those
lot.
guys.
Yeah, but like, yo, these guys, bro. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
okay, so like I was like fucking slaving away. Like my back was hurting. I was doing like a million jobs at once. And then like I'm like, oh Kuska, can you like just like watch like the drinks or something? He's like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
bro, for
yeah, yeah.
sure, for sure. And then like literally 2 seconds later, I'd see this guy in the mosh pit like fucking punching people and stuff. I'm like, oh my god. Anyways, so like I'm just kind of running the front table, doing whatever, and then like Chris comes up to me, he's like, yo, we need to shut it down. Someone said the cops are coming. They're coming. I'm like, oh my God, I have to shut it down? Like me? He's like, yeah, you got to do it. You got to do it. I'm like, fuck, bro, what do I do? So I kind of, I don't even know what I did. I kind of just walked up to them. I'm like, yo, like, Mateo, you guys got to shut it down. You guys got to shut it down. And obviously it didn't shut down. And then
Yeah.
like afterwards, I was like, okay, guys, like let's pack it up. Let's go. Let's go. And then everyone's like, we're not shutting it down. We're not shutting it down. I'm like, so then why the fuck did you make me? Okay, but like it's aside from the point. Like it was yeah, it was I was definitely stressing that day. But I mean, it's still a good memory in my mind, you know?
I mean, dude, like even if you were completely stressed and you just had a terrible time, I think if you, which you totally didn't, but like
Yeah.
if you did, because like I'm just saying I've had shows where like the whole time I was just stressed out, like especially like earlier when I first started, and even if that was the case, like when you look back at photos or you look back at the amount of tickets you sold or the amount of like the experience that you were able to provide, like dude, like that shit, it's still
Yeah.
it ends up being a good memory, or at least like you accomplished what you set out to do. You might have been
Yeah.
stressed
Yeah.
and you might not have been able to enjoy like any of the performances at all or whatever, but I don't know, like I mean that show was just massive. That was just, and you mentioned
Yeah.
Duflang too, like I think Kuska told me that was like the first show as Duflame, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was.
That's crazy,
But
man. That's crazy.
yeah, it
That
was
was a
crazy.
historical day, like historical day.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was, bro. I mean, the fact that we're still talking about it, right? I think
Right,
speaks
right.
speaks to it. So yeah, no. I mean, like after it was all said and done, like looking back at it, I'm like, holy shit, we really just did that. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was crazy. Definitely a huge boost. And then I mean, after that, we were playing shows a shit ton, right? So yeah, it was cool and like um yeah, just like I don't know, seeing how like we handled everything, like when one problem arose, like how we solved it. Like I was just super proud of everyone. Um, but yeah, it was a that was a good time. That was definitely like one of the best memories I have with music for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, are some of your better memories with music too, like just creating it? Because I know that you create music like very collaboratively, and you were working on some of Kuska's stuff, and like you always are and stuff. And how
Yeah,
is like the studio vibe like with friends and stuff like that? Because that seems like a lot of fun for sure.
yeah,
I've had
yeah,
the joy of like experiencing a bit of that, but
yeah, bro. Like usually like it's not even like it doesn't even feel like I'm making stuff most of the time, right? Like it's like usually I'm just like hanging out with people and we end up making some stuff. Like obviously I've had other studio sessions where it's more a focus session like okay, like we're going to make music today. Like we're going to be serious musicians today. But like most of the time I'm just kind of fucking around like we're just sampling random stuff like watching movies like just like just regular shit, you know what I mean? And I think like uh, when the music comes out like that, like when the music kind of just makes itself, that's always when I get my best shit. Like always, always, always. Um, but but I also find that there's also a beauty in working alone as well. I think that's something that I've also learned to appreciate more as I continue making music and keep progressing in like my music. I think like just working alone is such a intimate experience with yourself, and you really get to you really just get to do what you want to do. Like obviously collaboration is huge, right, and it's super important. But I've always kind of, in my opinion, like with music, I've always kind of preferred working alone. You know what I mean? I've always preferred to kind of rap on my own beats or you know um only make beats for myself, like that sort of thing. I mean, there's exceptions obviously. Like I love producing for Kuska, he's a great guy to work with. I love producing for Terrell. Like just like close friends, but most of the time like the thing that I really really love in music is producing for myself, right? um just because I feel like I feel like it makes my music more personal.
when did you start the voice modulation that you use?
That's a good question. Um, so yeah, I think like the first time I did it, it was just like on one song. And I did it because well, one, I was obsessed with Quasimodo at the time. Um, yeah, like he's the goat. He's like one of the goats for me. Like I just love I loved the pitch up character thing. Like I just thought that was super cool. And I was like, okay, fuck it, I'm just gonna use it on one song. And then when I started doing that, I was like, okay, I like when I rap, I don't like my voice. I know everyone talks about the rapper voice, but like for me, like when I was rapping, I'm like, okay, I like my lyrics. I just don't really like how my voice sounds. You know what I mean? So I found that like when I over exaggerated that by pitching up my voice, because like I feel like I have a naturally higher voice than most people. So when I would modulate the voice to be pitched up, I saw it almost as like an over exaggeration of what my voice actually is. And in that way, I felt like earlier when I was rapping, I felt like it made me more comfortable to say whatever I wanted and to kind of almost be a character, right? Be myself more. Um, and I think as I just continued, I think the first project where I did that all the way through was Good with Raps, where I was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna pitch up everything. Um, and then after that, I kind of just fell in love with that, and I just wanted to use it all the time. Um, and I try to like lean away from it sometimes, but I always kind of have a fondness in my heart for the pitch up voice and stuff like that. And a lot of the times when people mix my stuff, they don't do it, and I kind of like lean them in that direction to do it, right? Just because I feel like it's almost associated with the way I create music now. Like I just really like how it sounds, you know. But yeah, it honestly started out of insecurity, ironically. But and then now I just really like it, and I think it's a part of my identity when it comes to like my my lyrical identity, my producer identity. Like I just think it really rounds out the different concepts and themes that I want to evoke in my music.
Yeah, it sounds really good on Get Well Soon. It sounds really good on that one. And it sounds like when you use it, it sort of like blends with it blends in an opposite way where it's like now like I feel like all of you guys when I'm listening to you, I know 100% who it is. Like you played me a bit of unreleased stuff with Jalen on it, and like the moment he started rapping, I knew that it was Jalen. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And when I
yeah.
like when I hear Chris, I know instantly it's Chris. Kuska, I know it's him. Benny as well. And like with your added effects and the different way that you rap and the way that you flow, like the different flows you use. I think that like each one of you guys is totally like not trying to like it's almost as though in like your collective, even when you guys are just doing things on a solo level, one thing that I've observed is like being in that collective, the sort of rule book within that is to be a very individual artist in a way, like
Hmm.
within the collective. Um, and I wonder, like, did that sort of spawn from you guys making music before you came together, or was there anyone in GRG that actually wasn't making music yet when you guys came together? Probably Benny, I guess, or
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, like Ben's always kind of been like a jack of all trades. He's always had his hands in everything, right? I think he only really started making music uh like once we started playing shows because it's like, like you can't just sit up there and fucking paint or something. He has to like do something, right? So he started like writing verses and we're like, "Holy shit, like you're actually really good." Like let's have you on more shows and stuff like that, right? So I think Ben really kind of clocked in like once we started playing shows and stuff like that. But when GRG first started, there was more a focus on making music together, like kind of like posse tracks and stuff like that. Like a lot of the early GRG tracks, like that are unreleased, are all like 5 minute, 6 minute songs, like just everybody front to back, right? And this is when we had like a lot of members, like, uh, like uh, I think how many
the
members?
Magist or the yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We had like seven or eight people in GRG. Like it was kind of ridiculous, but um, yeah, like these were long ass songs, and then I think like eventually we all kind of realized that we wanted to do our own thing, but we didn't want to not be a group because at that point like we were just really good friends, right? And we still loved collaborating with each other and we still loved making music to with each other. So I think it became more of like oh, like let me feature on your song and you'll feature on my song, or you make me this beat, that kind of stuff. And I think like that's become more um almost like a label. I don't want to call it a label because it's a collective, but almost like a label style where it's like we all kind of just do our own thing, and GRG is our platform that we push all our shit on.
Hmm.
And I I in a way I know is sometimes I do miss like the long posse tracks and stuff like that, but I definitely feel like it gives me more creative freedom to do what I want as Ken, right? And I feel like it gives Kuzka the freedom to do what he wants with OG, while not interfering, like not clashing heads with the group so much, you know, because everybody has different tastes, and that's like a really really good thing. And I think it's what makes us so diverse. But I think like it's important to develop your own personal brand as well as your collective's brand.
And it kind of works hand in hand. Like when you are developing your own brand, you're also developing the collectives in a lot of ways. I think because
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
no,
like
100%.
yeah, because I think that just diversity is sort of the strength I think within you guys, and so when someone's doing their own thing, it just kind of builds that up. You know, like yeah, man. About a year ago, you guys did Instant Classics, Chris's tape, but it was really like, you know, there were so many features on it, and I think all of you guys were on that album, like if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
for sure.
like everyone was on there. Um, I was wondering what the process of doing that album was like. I mean, this is more a Chris. Obviously, you would answer that question a lot better than I would,
Yeah, yeah, no.
but that album was just really huge. Like that. I mean, instant classics. Like no, no fucking nothing about it. Like it is an instant classics album. There's just a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
no.
fucking bangers on there. So like, how did that kind of come about? Did Chris kind of tell you about that? Like,
Well,
how did that work?
I think Chris, yeah, no, Chris was definitely working on that for a long time. Obviously, I can't speak to it as much as he could, but I definitely know the process of it was kind of difficult just because of how many people he had involved, right? And he produced and mixed and mastered the whole thing himself, right? So obviously, it was an incredible feat of production. And I love all the songs that I'm a part of on there. I think I'm on two or something like that, two songs on there. Um, but yeah, just seeing all the verses come through and seeing him put it together, it was crazy. Um, I love the song that "You Miss Me a Lot." I know the one I'm on with Terrell.
Yeah, yeah.
That is like that's one of my favorite songs I've ever been a part of, just because, um, like at that point, right? Terrell was kind of transitioning into kind of experimenting with his music and stuff like that. So I was like fully expecting him to just come on and spit. But when this guy started singing, oh my, excuse me. But I like transcended. Like it was beautiful just to hear him fucking like kill that so well. And the way that Chris like just put it together, I really really love that track. And I also love the other one I'm part of, Meek and Humble.
Yeah, yeah.
That was
Yeah,
yeah,
the
that
beat
was
is
a
crazy on Meek and Humble,
yeah, it
man.
was
It
a
kicks
cool
it.
little. It's just a fast, fun song, right? Um, yeah, and at the time I was just like, yeah, fuck it, I'm just gonna rap. Like I wasn't really doing much, so yeah, like great project. Chris, an incredible producer, like great guy.
Yeah, I thought that
Um,
was just like
yeah,
such a dope project for you guys, like as a collective. I mean, it was a Chris tape, but it was, you know, like again, like I mentioned before, it's like when you guys do something on your own, it still like helps the brand so much. And like,
yeah, yeah,
I'm pretty
no,
sure
for sure.
GRG was like on the album cover, like it was like GRG was like on there. But yeah, oh, that's the dogs. You're with the dogs today.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Always with the
always,
dog.
always. Hold
Yeah.
on, I'm just gonna close my door really quick.
Yeah, no, I just thought because that album came out like just start of 2022, just kind of kickstarted a lot of shit. Like I still listen to it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You also released your own fucking album. Uh, Speaking of dogs, like later in they actually the dogs started piping up at the exact right moment.
Yeah, yeah, literally, right
Yeah.
on cue.
You released Love Dogs. I think that was you released that around the summertime, I believe. That was
I think I dropped it maybe 2 weeks before Instant Classics, so like
oh shit.
right at the beginning of the year as well.
Damn.
Yeah, no, we released that shit back to back, which was crazy. Um, especially because at that time, like that that project was probably the like at that time that was my best shit ever, and I really still do love that project, like to this day. And Chris was also involved with that project. He had mastered it, so yeah, it was crazy to see two really great projects drop back to back. But yeah, I just that project has just shaped like the I think it put my music in a new direction, for sure.
Yeah.
And just seeing all the love on it was so great, and being able to perform those songs was really great. Yeah, I that project's like one of my favorites for sure.
That's good, man. That's good cuz I think we well, it was maybe in another interview that you and I did together, which is kind of dope. But I remember like talking about projects and stuff, and you were talking about like you want to be proud of like everything you do, and sometimes you put stuff out and you're like, oh, I'm not into that, whatever. It's nice to hear that that project still resonates with you, still resonates with me. I mean, you got Terrell and Chris on the same song on that album, which was like really sick. Um, and and then like I guess a couple weeks later they were featured together again on Instant Classics.
Yeah, yeah, man.
But it's just cool to like have something that sustains and like a year later, it's coming up on a year, I guess. Like you're still super proud of it, man. That's really good. I guess this is more of a comment rather than a question. But
Yeah.
yeah,
No, for sure. Like and I feel like because I'm so proud of it, it almost works against me in a way where it's like the more and more I'm trying to release more stuff, it kind of gets in the way where I'm like, because I have this rule where it's like I'll never release anything unless it's just as good or better, right? And I think that I love dogs so much that it's really hard for me to make something that's better in my in my mind. So it's like I'm always kind of trying to one up like that project, and like I just think the place I was in, like at the time I was living in London, which was like a super London, Ontario. I was living in a super unfamiliar place. I didn't really know a lot of people. Um, it would like obviously London is really shitty weather. It was like always dark all the time in the winter and stuff. So it was just kind of like I don't know. It was just like a lightning in a bottle. And I've been trying to. I feel like for a long time I was trying to replicate that, and it was always coming out like kind of half baked because like
mm,
obviously you can't replicate that, right? So I think at least I've gotten to the point where I've started to get that feeling, but in different ways, right? I've been creating new experiences for myself, and the music's coming out pretty good. It's just taking a lot longer than my other projects had, but I mean, it takes time. You can't rush it.
no, and then you just dropped Get Well Soon, and then yeah, and you were telling me like on Sunday that you weren't thinking about doing a single, like you kind of don't really do that often, and then boom, you were just like, all right, we're just gonna drop Get Well Soon. It's a good track, it's a great track. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes you just gotta let go, man. And honestly, like that song is just so fun, and I listened to it so much. Like before it was released, like I would just listen to that song all the time, and I was like, I should probably just drop this, like just to say, just like to release something. You know what I mean? Just to say that I'm still doing this stuff because like we were having that conversation about like social media and your audience and all that stuff, right? I feel like like although it's important to like take your time with stuff, like at the same time, like if something's good, like you just got to let it go, you know what I mean? Like as much as you want to like build your vault and stuff like that, like you got to let some stuff go, you got to let people hear some stuff, whether it just be like a quick thing on SoundCloud or whatever. Like a lot of the stuff that I had made, like I didn't feel was good enough to put out, including Get Well Soon. At the time when I made it, I was like, I don't know if this is good enough to put out. But I really love that song, and I'm glad people are fucking with it. And yeah, we me and Kuska definitely killed that one. And the video was just a lot of fun to film. Like it was just stupid stuff.
Of course,
Um,
that was fun to film, dude.
yeah,
Of course. Yeah,
yeah, it
that's
was just
that's true, man. You want to get that out there if it's something good. But I think also just to share it with other people, right? Like,
yeah,
okay, like I'm
yeah.
I'm listening to this all the time. Like I know that I'm like really enjoying this, and like the people that have been rocking with me are definitely gonna fuck with this too. Which we
Yeah.
did, which we did. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I think that's important too.
Yeah, I think like that's like kind of like the point of the song too, right? It's like, sharing things like with your homies, you know what I mean? Like making art for the homies and stuff. I I think like Kuska may have mentioned this, but Benny was like sick at the time and he was feeling really shitty. We are like, fuck it, like we're just gonna make this like stupid track, like to send to him. Like the hook is like really stupid. Like it's like I
Yeah.
say like I'm with the dogs today like 15 times. Like it's really dumb. This song is really dumb, but it's a lot of fun. I think that's
Yeah.
the main thing. A lot of fun. Like the goal wasn't to make a good song. Like it was definitely just to make Ben laugh. Um like it was definitely to make the homies laugh. But I mean it just turned I don't know, it just turned out fire somehow.
To be
But
honest, what made me laugh the most was Benny's intro. Was like
yeah, so originally
that was it.
there's a different intro, right? Like the original intro is like me just saying random shit to Ben and Kuska saying random shit to Ben, and then the song starts. But then like once Ben got better, he's like, "What the fuck? I want to be on this song." So then like we just gave him the whole intro section to say like whatever, like yeah, and yeah, he just fucked around, and yeah, it turned out really really great. And then at the time I was looking to film a video, and we were just like, "Fuck it, like let's just do this song, like it's really good."
Fuck it. Fuck it. Yeah,
Yeah,
it also like it reminded me of, and I guess I'm like a hardcore GRG fan at this point, I guess, because just like time has passed, and
yeah,
and so I
yeah,
I actually have uh nostalgia just from checking you guys out like from afar, which is kind of weird because like I'm also like homies with you guys, but
yeah, yeah,
there's been a lot of stuff that's like reminded me of some of that early shit. Timepiece Chronicles was another one that like Dogs Today for sure, like especially the music video too, like kind of reminded me of like some of the stuff that I saw from you guys, um, in the past, sort of more 2020, 2021. Um, but Timepiece definitely reminded me of some earlier shit in such a cool way because it also felt like there was a progression there. Like I was listening to like a natural evolution because I feel like I know that song happened before.
yeah.
That song's been in the vault. Like both of those songs, Domo and Foster, had both been in the vault for a while. But did you make like a lot of tweaks over the course of the time that it was in the vault?
For Timepiece Chronicles.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So Domo, that's like one of the first beats I've ever made, which is crazy. I like Domo. I made that beat like probably like like in those early session garage sessions, like way early. Um, and yeah, it was a different song at first, and then we never ended up using it. And then I think like like a year later, Kuska's like, I was just kind of scrolling through my vault, and then Kuska's like, oh, I want that beat. So then I give it to Kuska, and then he never dropped it. So then, like, all the way, like, now fast forward all the way to like freaking 2022, he's like, oh, I'm dropping this. I'm like, dude, I totally forgot I made this beat. But, um, yeah, like, I don't think like I didn't change anything in the beat. I thought it was like really really simple, and it just sounded really nice. But the I think the main thing is like my mixing skills, my production skills have leveled up a little bit since then. So I was kind of able to, at least I think I was able to achieve the sound that he wanted with it. Um, but yeah, that song's great. I really did love Timepiece Chronicles, and like you were saying, it does remind me of a early GRG song, and an early Ken song, because like that is one of the first beats I ever made. So it was kind of like I think like now I think at least for me, I'm definitely trying to um go back to like my roots, and like I'm trying to go back to like the stuff that I was making in my early career, um and just applying everything I've learned up until now to kind of that sound and that style, almost like a reset, you know what I mean? I think everybody kind of wanted to start from scratch, and I think like that's definitely the direction we're moving in with GRG. At least I think so. That we're just trying to kind of build up the catalog again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and build from the ground up. Like at least that's what I really want to do with Ken, and I know that's what me and Jalen want to do. We're working on a project right now. So yeah, we're really just trying to build up GRG again from the ground up, and like really tap into what made it so fun in the first place. Um, because I feel like when you forget about the fun, and you forget about like again like the good, like just to loop it back around, like the good memories you have with music, and it becomes about like the streams, or like the status, or playing shows or whatever, it's like you lose that authenticity that made you unique in the first place. So I think everybody's just having a good time just making stuff right now,
Yeah.
and it's really good to see. Like,
I think that's great, man. I think you guys can totally be having your own solo careers and still be doing GRG. I mean, you've done it pretty well. But I think you guys are going to be doing it even better, like having that sort of synergy between, okay, I'm solo and now I'm in a group. Like that's kind of what I see going down, is like, okay, both are totally hand in hand. Like when I'm doing the solo stuff, I'm not going to like not think about that other shit, or when I'm doing the team stuff like with the crew, I'm not gonna not think about the solo shit either. Like kind of a marriage
yeah,
of
yeah,
both, kind of a marriage of like both what you guys started as and what you became sort of in the last year or so, and just kind of bringing both of those things together is what
yeah,
is
100%,
that's kind of what I'm
100%.
seeing, because like Blue Ken was like, dude, that's so like 2021 or 2021 or
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I think it was 2021. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
nah, for sure. And you guys had like you guys had that hoodie and shit. It was like a golden,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
like a gold and
No,
black. Yeah.
I've been having a great time like working with Jay again, and just like yeah, like again, just doing shit we used to do, right? It's like I think like it was a huge point to just get back to it, like just start cooking again, right? Because it's like I feel like for a long time we were playing a lot of shows, like all of us individually, and I found that I was like, damn, like I performed this like fucking 3 times already. I need more songs, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's good to be growing my catalog again, and just having fun with it, like just taking the pressure off a little bit. um you know I think like my music is like really moving in a new and unique direction that I'm not used to, and I think that's a good thing. Like I think that the I think like I've been thinking like outside of the box more and more, like as I continue.
That's good, man. Just expanding more. I mean, you guys are always super creative, but I think there's always just different ways to go about things. And it's kind of a wild concept to go, okay, I kind of lost my way a little bit in terms of what kind of made what I was doing special. I still held on to a lot
Yeah.
of it, but I want to go back and get a little bit of that back and apply what I've learned now through doing shows and through, you know, really changing into a different kind of artist. I want to take what I've learned and apply that more to some of the stuff that we were doing earlier and hold on to it, you know.
Yeah. No,
It's
100%.
cool. And it feels great. It honestly feels great as someone who has been watching you guys and been friends with you guys
Mm-hmm.
for a while to know that there's like another blue can dropping, or you know, like
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah. No, no, it's super cool. It's super cool to yeah, no, it's great, man. And like it's just it made it I'm getting excited talking about it. Like it's just it's so much fun to be working with like all the OG homies again. And yeah, just like rounding up the squad, man. Just having everybody come through all the time. Uh working with people that I really like to work with, I like I've in my opinion there's no worse feeling than like collabing with someone that you don't really like, or that
Mm.
you kind of like you're kind of just there because you think it's going to progress your career forward or whatever,
Oh yeah, for
right?
sure, for sure.
That for me like takes all the fun out of it, and at that point it's just like a job, right?
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like I there's no one in the world I like collaborating more. I like collaborating with more than the homies. You know what I mean? Because it's just again like it's just like hanging out essentially, and
yeah,
it definitely gives more of a genuine and authentic vibe.
yeah, for sure. I think that, you know, there are people that you can collaborate with who can really help your career, that can also be really chill to work with, but you got to find those diamonds in the rough, and that's not always easy to come
Yeah,
by. I think 9 times out of 10, you're going to find people that are going to be like, they could super help you with your career, but it might not be an enjoyable experience
yeah,
working
yeah,
with them. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But I
for
do
sure.
but I've certainly found those diamonds in the rough though, where it's like this person can really help me out, and they're really kind, and they're really, they're not kind of controlling, they're pretty easy to work with kind of deal. But again, like 9 times out of 10, I have not found
Yeah,
that to be the
yeah,
case.
no,
But
100%. No, obviously, like, and that's not to say like the homies aren't hard workers, right? And they grind because they do, I think that's what makes like the relationship even better because it's like I like you're my friend and you're dope. You know what I mean? I think like that's the main thing, where it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
I genuinely like your art, and I think that that's huge in artists' friendships. You know what I mean? Like I like the people who I frequently collaborate with. It's like they're the homies, but it's like I genuinely listen to your music and I like you as an artist. And I want to collaborate with you. Like someone who I collaborate with a lot, Terrell, right? I love his music. Like I really, really love the way he raps. I love his beat choices. I even love his production, and like he's a great, great friend of mine. But I like he not only is he a great friend, but I really, really look up to him as an artist, and I think that was what makes our collaboration so great. You know what I mean? So good.
yeah. Yeah, you could have somebody that you look up to as an artist, but they're just a shitty guy. Like it's possible, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, no,
Like
for real.
it's totally like possible. Tons of people are great artists, and because they're great artists, it's hard to have a relationship with them, you know?
Yeah,
Those
yeah,
so it's yeah, I mean, if you found that, like you found that with a bunch of different people, I think it's 100% the smartest decision to just keep developing that and keep working with that. I mean, all of the guys have shown that they work really fucking hard. I mean, we were just talking about Cult World, and we were talking about all the work that went into that. and also with everyone's solo projects as well. Like Jalen busts his ass like on shit like on shit like Clear Path to Nowhere and all that,
Yeah,
and like
yeah, no,
yeah, yeah,
100%,
yeah.
bro. No, yeah,
Yeah.
it's so good to see.
Everybody's working. Like you know, it's like
Yeah, yeah, just to see, and everybody, like, you know what I mean. It's sick to see like the wins. You know what I mean? Like Hot World, obviously a huge win for all of us, but like to see like people drop projects that they're genuinely proud of. That's a really cool thing to see from like having a hand in it, or even just being like by the sidelines. You know what I mean? It's cool. It's cool to see everybody progress. Like even with Ben, like seeing him like set like do exhibitions and sell paintings and stuff. Like that's like dope. That's dope for me. You know what I mean? As like a third party. It's cool to see the homies like really achieve like what they want to do. um so yeah, and I like when and like on the other hand, when I release something I'm really proud of, it's like I feel grateful for like the people I have behind me. You know what I mean? For the people who put a hand in that.
no, for sure. You guys have always kind of just been good at, okay, like if I got this opportunity, like the rest of the guys have this opportunity too. Or, oh, like I found out about this show. Hey, like you guys might want to hop on the show or take care
Yeah,
of
yeah,
things. And like,
100%.
yeah, just kind of spreading the wealth, you know? And I think that's easier to do, kind of going back to the idea of everyone working. I think that's easier to do when you feel like there's no sort of loose ends. Like there's no one who's kind of hanging around because it's the cool thing to be in that circle.
Yeah, yeah,
But like they're not really working. They don't really have
yeah,
projects going on. You know, um, that is so important. You know what I mean? Because that just affects the like just the morale of everyone. Because everyone is working. You know, everyone's got a hunger. Um,
yeah. No, for sure. Like it's that whole like cliche where it's like the people who you surround yourself with. Like I don't know the quote.
well, like
Like
you become
yeah,
them. You kind of
you
become
gotta
them. Yeah.
you gotta surround yourself with good people. Like seeing them like grind and do what they want to do. It makes me want to create. Whether it be like anything, right? It's like with music,
Yeah, I think a lot.
aside from music.
Yeah.
Like I think it's like the people around you really do push you forward, and that is especially true when you're an artist. You know what I mean? Like, uh, being surrounded by artists and having artists as like my best friends, it like really pushes me forward to make stuff that I want to make. And really improve my art.
Yeah, I think that's really great to see. You know, there's a lot of people that kind of stay in their bedrooms and make beats and put stuff on SoundCloud and whatever, but
Yeah,
I mean, they don't have an ounce of like what you have in terms of knowing people that, you know, do shows. I guess I'm patting myself on the back for a sec, but
yeah,
but like knowing just so many different artists, knowing so many different kinds of artists, knowing people that like people in bands and people that are painting and people that are just making beats or like that's the kind of stuff that like someone who just makes beats in their room, like most people like just in North America, like
yeah,
they don't have that network at all. So I think it's great that
yeah. No, for real, bro.
it's great that you're totally taking advantage of it. It's good to
Yeah,
see.
no, the network is huge. Like it's just it again, it's so cool to see like all the different people that I've met through music and just see all of their careers progress like from the ground up. It's a really beautiful thing.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a pretty solid thing. As we come across about an hour, we've been streaming. I think that's a really solid thing to end on. It's really all about the community,
Yeah.
really. Um,
Yeah.
also,
For sure.
I did get as we wrap up, I did get a question from Kuska to you when I was filming Youngcast, and he wanted to know why you are not wearing socks in his house all the time.
Yo, no, I was actually prepared for this question because he told
He
me
told,
that
oh, okay,
you were
but
gonna, he told me that you were gonna ask me this. Okay, okay, hear me out. Hear me out.
All
Okay,
right, all right. I'm ready. I'm ready.
hear me out. Hear me out. Okay, bro. It when you're friends with someone, okay, and you're friends with them for your long for a long time, and you spend a lot of fucking time there. It's like that how their house or their spot or wherever that low key becomes your spot, right? Like in a way, right? Like
Yeah.
I think that's genuinely true. Like me and Kusuke are like fucking brothers, bro. So it's like you know, his house, like genuinely, sort of is my house in a way, right? So in my house, I don't want to wear socks.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
listen. I
and
think if
like
yeah,
and also like socks overrated. Like I just like
overrated.
to like I just like to feel the ground on my feet, bro. Like you know what I mean? It's just
Do you think that's like almost like I don't know, man, like a guru kind of like Rick Rubin kind of like
like I don't know, bro. It's just like bro, I don't know. I just don't really fuck with socks like that,
yeah,
bro.
fuck them.
Like you know what I mean? Like when you're in the house and shit, like do I really want to be wearing socks right now? Like not really.
Facts. Hey man, to each his own, like like just find what's comfortable for you. Well, I think especially when you have like a relationship with, you know, Cusco's parents and shit, and they're the ones who are paying the bills, bro. It's like, yo, like they if
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
maybe if maybe they're the ones who gotta say whether you got the socks or not. Maybe that's what it
Yeah,
is.
I know. Like don't get me wrong. If Cusco's parents are like throw on the socks, like I'm putting on the socks, but like like I don't know, like I'm just like I don't know. I feel like it's just it's cultural, you know. It's
Yeah,
just like is the energy, you know. You need to have no socks on.
it's that no sock energy. It's
Is
that no
that no
sock.
sock energy?
Facts, facts. The big sock, the no
Bro,
sock life.
big socks wants you to wear socks, okay? Big clothing wants you to wear the
Big. Oh,
clothing.
that's
Okay?
it. Big socks. The big. Yeah. My uncle works in big socks. That's good. All right, man. It's been a pleasure, bro. We should do it
Yeah,
again.
dude, thank you for having me. Always good talking to you, man.
Always great, bro. And I'll catch you soon, man. Have a great rest of your day, and
Yes,
keep
sir.
drinking lots of water. All the viewers keep drinking lots of water,
Yeah.
and peace, man.
Yeah, peace, man. Thank you.
Lots of love, bro.